Hello. It's Monday again, and it's coffee time again, and we're going to do the news whether you like it or not. We're doing the news. We're on the Daily Mail website. Though I do have some news to catch up on. Some cases we were following. 2 cases. Just want to do these before I forget them. Right. Firstly, do you remember the pensioner gang? The gang of pensioners that were involved in a £1.3 million court battle. The millionaire neighbour from hell. He accused them of a malicious campaign of harassment. Do we have a picture of those, of the old folk? Yes, here they are. Here are the old folks accused of being ne'er-do-wells by the neighbours. Well, anyway, it was one of those property kind of dispute things, because you know what millionaires are like. This is the millionaire involved. Mark Randolph Dyer, described as a property magnet. He can never walk beside a row of houses because he's attracted to them. He's a property magnet. Not that kind of magnet, Darren. So he reckons he's been the target of a malicious campaign of vilification and harassment by Dr. Andrew Cross, 63, retired bank executive David Small, 81, and his wife Susan, 78, and plus charity trustee Patricia Webb, 77. Now, they sound like fairly stand-up people. Well, he lost his legal battle with the menacing pensioners. Yeah, he was suing the gang for 1.3 million, but the judge ruled for the group. Hey, that was good. Yeah, the actual judge ruled in their favour. The judge, this was at London High Court last week, said that Mr. and Mrs. Dyer provided no credible basis for the allegations that the 4 defendants influenced or instigated Mr. Baker to harass them by setting fire to their boundary to the requisite standard required of an interim injunction. And so, yeah, it was dismissed. There was, because there was a fence that was set alight, though there was no evidence of who did what. And 2 days in court. This last hearing. They reckon he's already racked up lawyers' bills totaling £320,000, and who pays that bill will be decided at a later date. Hopefully, it'll be the Dyers, the people bringing the case about. But anyway, that's one case resolved, so that's good. The pensioner gang terrorising. I just love it. But then we've got an update on the case of Tom Somerset Howe. Now again, I don't know if you remember that case. Here he is. He's a disabled chap who was, held in financial slavery by his wife and carer who were having an affair. Sarah Somerset Howe and George Webb apparently were having an affair and kept him in terrible, dirty conditions and didn't feed him whilst using his money for their own gains. Well, that case has been resolved, and the wife and the care worker were both jailed for 11 years each for modern slavery. They enslaved him. They were found guilty of holding a person in slavery or servitude after the judge William Ashworth ruled there was ample evidence that Tom Somerset Howe had been held as if he were cattle. So good for him. Good for him. He won that case, and they got some time in the clink to consider their actions. Meanwhile, we're getting back to the new news, because that was the old news. That was last week's news. But I wanted to cover those because we'd covered them before. But Just Stop Oil are at it again. Apparently today they've held their biggest protest. This fella's having none of it. Go on, son, you get him out of the way. Go on here, that's it. Give him some aggro. They want to paralyse London. 200 eco-zealots have targeted 14 locations across London pledging to paralyse the capital. And yeah, things are getting a little bit heavy. But a man on a motorcycle, he grabbed a banner. Whoops. No, I don't want notifications. He grabbed their banner and drove off with it. And as we know, they're powerless without their banners. They just shrivel up like salt on a slug when their banners are removed from them. But yeah, these are the locations across London that are being blocked by these loonies, green loonies. Just stop oil. Yeah, it's not going to work, is it? So that's that. Meanwhile, Europe's getting nice and toasty. They're calling it Sharon or Charon, depending on how you pronounce it. Again, it's another reference to hell. We had Cerberus the other day. Now we've got Charon. Oh yeah. I mean, they come up with these. He was the ferryman to Hades. He's the one that you crossed the palm with silver, and he took you across the river Styx. You get past Cerberus, the three-headed dog, who's the guardian of Hades. Now, I mean, they're going to run out of ideas soon, aren't they? Because that's how it is. It's hell out there. But I don't know if you've noticed, but summers are hot, aren't they? But yeah, there's a heat wave, and tourists have collapsed and fainted in Italy and Greece. Probably British tourists, because anything over 22 degrees, and we come out in an awful sweat. And mind you, I don't know, it looks kind of lovely there. This is the beach of Torre Faro Peloni near Messina on the Isle of Sicily. Oh, I wonder if that's near Peter Gabriel's hotel that he owns. Don't know, maybe. But yeah, Sicily's warm. Look, people are just doing. Look, that's normal thing. Look, he's washing his feet. That guy. How uncouth! How uncouth! But yeah, apparently it's really hot out there, and apparently it's the end of the world, or something. I don't know. I wasn't listening. We're going on about it on the radio. Let's see. It's really hot. That's what you want when you're on your holidays. And Turkey's roasting, because turkey. You should roast turkey, shouldn't you? Really. It's summer. It gets a bit warm out there. Oh dear. Does that mean I'm a climate change denier? No, I believe there's climate change, but whether it's man-made or we have any influence, it's another thing. We have cycles of hot and cold weather. We've only just started measuring. It's only been the last 100 years that we've actually been taking notice of these temperatures. Before that, we couldn't give a monkey's. Thames froze over. We held a fair. We held a frost fair and skated on it. We didn't really care. We didn't go, oh, it's the end of the world. The Thames has frozen over. Had a hot summer. Phew. But yeah. Meanwhile, we've got some cool news. This is social media. Cool news. This is these two people. This is Catherine Llewellyn and Teresa Morgan Peters. This is their mugshots. Remember, if you see their faces, run in the opposite direction. What did they get up to? Well, like I said, this is a social media thing. Two mothers, right? Catherine Llewellyn and Teresa Morgan Peters. Now, Catherine's 43 and Teresa's 45, so you think they know better. They donned clown masks, right, as disguises, and broke in to a home in, I think it's pronounced Glynnis, near Swansea. I've mangled it because it's in Welsh Wales, and broke into a woman's home in that village near Swansea and attacked her with a Stanley knife and doused her with bleach. Right? Why? What was this punishment for? What was this revenge attack for? Well, apparently it was a squabble. They had a squabble on Facebook between Catherine Llewellyn and her victim, and this caused them to pull on the clown masks and run amok. Prosecutor Robin Ranch described how the nightmare on Halloween began when the victim, Philippa Stevens, was woken by a series of 3 phone calls at 1 a.m, then heard scary laughing noises. They said they started laughing like clowns cackling, and then the 2 women barged into her home after midnight on October 31st. She said initially she thought it was one of her friends mucking around, but then one started coming at me with a standing knife. Then another came at me, and they had bleach thrown at me. They didn't say anything, and one held me down to bleach me. But Miss Stevens managed to pull off one of the attackers' masks, was unable to make out who it was in the darkness because the lights weren't on. Yeah, and she said, she was going to kill me. They wanted me dead. They knew exactly what they were doing. It was planned. It was vicious. It was coordinated. And they found that DNA from the woman was found on the mask and the bottle used in the attack. And they were found guilty. Llewellyn was found guilty of burglary, wounding with a tent, and have an article with a blade or point. And Morgan Peters was found guilty of the same charges, and they got sent down. 10 years. Got sent down for 10 years. No suspended sentences here. So there you go. Stay off Facebook. Remember, social media is a cancer. It makes people do crazy, crazy things. Crazy things. Hey, this is a good one. Don't go on holiday, especially to the island of Rhodes in Greece. Right? Apparently, an Orthodox priest has been arrested. What did he do? Well, a 30-year-old Estonian man was on the island. He was said to have visited a monastery on the southern part of the island the day before with his girlfriend, and he bought a cross from a church but forgot to take it with him. And the priest texted him and said he'd found it. When the man returned the next day to retrieve it, the priest said he'd taken to his small reception room, tell him he wanted to give him a special gift. Blimey. Now, when a priest offers to give you a special gift, especially if you're, I don't know, under 15, you should really look the other way. But this guy was 30, so he probably thought he was in the clear. The cleric then asked the man to pull down his trousers and underwear so he could anoint him. Is that what they're calling it these days? At this point, the priest allegedly massaged oil onto the man's privates. Yeah. It was holy oil. Jesus blessed himself. No, he didn't. But he knew it was religious because when the guy felt him massaging his member with the oil, he went, "Oh, Jesus." That's how you knew it was religious. Yeah, it's true, that. But the man was left confused, embarrassed, and apparently unsure whether it was some sort of legitimate ritual. He took a day to reflect on his ordeal and then decided to report it to the police. Not immediately. He thought about it. He went, was that genuine? Did that priest really rub my dicky with the holy oil? Did he anoint me well? Is this a thing? I wonder if he phoned up another priest. Hello, I want a second opinion. If a priest asks you to drop your trousers and rub the old chap with some oil, is that legit? And there you go. So now the case is now in the hands of the island's criminal prosecutor, and the 49-year-old Orthodox priest is in trouble. He's going to have to explain that one in court. Maybe he's going to demonstrate it on the judge. Judge, I've got a special gift for you. Blimey. Meanwhile, should we go to England's newest ghost town? Now, this is interesting. You think it'd be up north or in the southwest or somewhere, remote where there are no people, no jobs, no prospects. But this is Northstowe, which is 10 miles north of Cambridge. Now, Cambridge is a fairly bustling area. You've got the university and all the industry that's around that, and it was built. It's one of those new towns, right? It was England's biggest new town. It was billed as the largest town in Britain since Milton Keynes was built in 1967. Construction started in 2017 with 1,200 homes being built, and hoping to have a town of 26,000 people. And here are some of the homes. I don't know, looks a bit like a prison, doesn't it, really? What do you reckon? I don't know about that. And that's Dan Grief. He moved to Northstowe in August 2022, but he said it's like living in a ghost town. I think we should move there, missus. Though it's a bit anonymous. Mind you, I wonder if the property is cheap there. And families say they have to drive to shops to the next town or go to Cambridge, because there are none in Northstowe. I like the sound of it. There's Mr. Grief again. He said, we're now past 1,000 homes and all we've got is a post box. There he is, and he's not too happy about it. So, yeah, if you want a nice quiet life, Northstowe is the place to be. Never heard of it. I had no idea. But there you go. No one there. Could be good though. Meanwhile, Kevin Spacey news. Here's a turn up. So Kevin Spacey's in court for, I don't know, being a bit naughty with men who haven't consented. Been a bit handy, Mr. Handsy, a little bit grabby, I think. That's putting it politely. So who turns up via video link from Monaco as a character witness? It's only Elton John and his husband David Furnish. Imagine that. Imagine having Elton John as your character witness. Do you think it's going to work? They should have got Hugh Edwards there as his character witness, shouldn't they? Hugh Edwards. No. Meanwhile, there was a bridge taken down in Crimea, right? The Tower Bridge. They've got some pictures of it. There's an explosion. Doesn't really show much because it's of a night. See that explosion? Yes, doesn't really show much. It will cycle around. There you go. It's a 12-mile crossing in the Crimea. Got some damage to the bridge. Let's see. It's not too bad. I fix that. I reckon they fix that up. A couple of weeks, that'll be fine. Whoops, pressed the wrong button. Well, my fault. It's the trackpad. Well, anyway, the Kremlin, they've only blamed us for it. It's true, they blamed Britain for orchestrating an attack on the Crimean Bridge. And they're actually calling for a retaliatory strike on Tower Bridge. Oh my God. But yeah, this has also had this was it 3 billion bridge that links Russia to Crimea. The attack on the bridge has also caused Putin to nix the grain deal that he had, because he was letting grain come out of Ukraine. Not going to get it now. He said, no, I'm not going to let you do that if you're going to blow up my bridges. Just in time for winter. Just so all the prices go up again for winter. Funny that. I'm sure they're playing a game. I'm sure they're playing a game with us. Seems a bit weird, isn't it, really? What is this game that they're playing? What else have we got? Oh, that looks like our we've got an animal story already. Here you go. I know you're going to like this story. Doctors reveal the 3 foods you didn't know that could make your urine smell weird. Yes, folks, yes. Dr. Samaya Aziz, based in London, said that while unusually scented urine is harmless, you should consult your doctor if you notice a persistent change. Well, the first item to make your dribblings smell weird? Coffee. I did not know that. I did not know that. We all know this one. Asparagus. Yeah, asparagus, garlic and onions, because they've got a lot of sulphur in them. And what else have we got? Bear with me. And spices. Just spices. Spices in general. Like cumin, turmeric, coriander. You can have a stinky wee wee then. Dear. Meanwhile, vaping news. We do like vapes. Steadies your nerves, doesn't it? But yeah, apparently, shock data collected by the Trading Standards Committee at Lancashire County Council. This was done for a meeting last week at Lancashire County Council. They reckon that teenagers using vapes has tripled in 3 years in some parts of England, and that kids as young as 8 are hooked. And here's a good stock image of a child puffing on a vape. And yeah, we're kind of sleepwalking into a health nightmare. It's going to be bad, and that's without the e-waste created by the disposable vapes. Now, do you remember a few years back, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, it was all the rechargeable vapes, ones that you could refillable, rechargeable and refillable vapes, PEMs. They were very expensive. They're almost like an accessory, and everyone was getting into them. And all of a sudden, we've gone for the disposable ones. And of course, each one of those, not only have you got plastic waste in the cylinder, but you've got e-waste, because each one of those carries a battery, a lithium battery, which is no good for the environment. And I still can't understand how these things are allowed to be. They go on at us about putting our food in a fucking plastic bag in our green bin. Yeah, that's what we've got to do now. Let's feed it to a dog. Get a dog. Recycling. So we got this thing. We got a plastic bag which you put your food waste in, and you put in your green bin, and they're going to be inspecting the green bins. Got all that. Meanwhile, everyone's throwing e-cigarettes and vapes around with lithium batteries in. So I just went off on one then. I did. A bit crazy. It's really a bit crazy. I've got another animal story. That's good. I should really have checked this earlier. Still trying to find a lot of Wimbledon. Some people won tennis. Mind you, this is the big story. This is a serial killer that they've got. Now, I remember following this case a long time ago, because it's been knocking around for, crikey, is it maybe 10, 15 years? What do they call him? The Gilgo Beach killer. And they've got a fella for it. This guy here, Rex Herman, who's an architect, and they reckon he's killed, well, a lot of women. They've charged him with four murders, but he's done at least 10 to a dozen that they know about. And yeah, sister of one of the victims said that a suspect with a Long Island accent called her, right, and taunted her about the killing of her sister. Yeah, and they reckon he was stalking them using their mobile phones that he'd stolen, from his victims, and was even using them to call up his victims' relatives. Ugh, and it's just awful. And look, yeah, he even had a Tinder profile. There you go. It's a different world, isn't it? But who knows how many how many women he's killed. It's a frightening one, that is. But I remember watching a documentary about it. And there's quite a bit of, they've done quite a big write-up about him on here. Meanwhile, worst supermarkets for price hikes. So this is like cost of living. They've got a little. It's a really useful graphic. I'm not going to go through it because you can just stare at the graphic and work out who's the worst. And it's Sainsbury's. God damn it! God damn you, Sainsbury's. God damn it. But yeah, they're not passing on any savings to us. They call it greedflation now. That's a new buzzword, isn't it? Meanwhile, divorce. Divorce is hard, isn't it? Imagine getting divorced. I can't, because I can't afford it. And the missus won't. She won't divorce me because, you know. How will she do internet banking? She won't. She's nodding her head. She's nodding her head. We have an arrangement. But we can't get divorced because it's a symbiotic relationship. She's the host and I'm the parasite, sucking her dry. But this woman who's called Brocard. Now, I'm not saying she might. I think we might add. Should we add this one to our crazy list? I think she'd got the whiff of crazy about us, but she's from Oxfordshire and she's got divorced, right? She got divorced because she got married to a soldier called Eduardo. Yeah. Thing is Eduardo was a Victorian soldier who died. Yeah, and he visited her in her room one night. Yeah, she married a ghost. Of course she did. Is this the Sunday sport? Yeah, she insists she met soldier Eduardo, who burst into her bedroom one night. But after their wedding on Halloween 2022, things went downhill. Who was the best man? How did she put the ring on his finger? Questions. She added, he grew increasingly more aggressive and nasty and began to haunt me with the sound of a screaming baby. Okay. I concluded the only way to get rid of Eduardo was to exercise him. Not put him on a treadmill, not one of those fancy running machines or one of those fancy bikes. She means exercise, like the movie. That one. So I embarked on the harrowing process in the chapel that we got married in. They got married in a chapel. Was there a priest? Or did she just say, we're married now, at the local church? After hours, he was finally purged from my system. I felt light and free and excited to be released from his troubled spirit. I don't know who's worse, or the ones that knock up those giant dolls. Oh, she's a singer-songwriter. They usually are. I tell you, it takes all sorts to make a world, doesn't it? It takes all sorts. File that one under cuckoo. What else have we got? Haven't got any funny ones? I don't know. Mind you, I feel like we've done enough. Yeah, this was an amazing story. This is the story of Tim Shattuck, right? With his dog Bella, right? And he was cast away at sea for 3 months. And luckily he got found, right? The dog looks a good nick as well. There you go. And yeah, it's an incredible story of a guy who just, who vanished. Yeah, he was rescued off the coast of Mexico along with his dog Bella after a helicopter accompanying a tuna trawler spotted the catamaran last week. Although they said he was found in good and healthy spirits, Mr. Shattuck's rescue showed the man appearing skinny and dishevelled because he got on with a bare minimum diet for months. I mean, he used to look like that. Looked like he'd only been at sea for a month, lost at sea for a month there, and then and then he ended up looking like that. So yeah, but the important thing is he got rescued, isn't it? It's an amazing story. Yeah, they departed from La Paz along the Baja California Peninsula in Mexico in April. It was going to be on a 6,000 kilometre solo voyage across the Pacific Ocean to French Polynesia. That was 3 months ago. But 2 weeks into his voyage, a storm destroyed the electronics on his boat, leaving the pair without communication or a way to navigate the open ocean. Meanwhile, Mike Tipton, who's a professor of human and applied physiology at the University of Portsmouth, said that Mr. Shannock's survival was a mix of luck and skill. And the funny thing is, here's a picture of him back in the 1990s when he was an IT expert, and he was carrying some lumber then, wasn't he? Here you go, a new diet. If you want a new diet, get lost at sea for 3 months. There you go. The Shattuck diet, we'll call that. But yeah, thankfully, him and his dog were rescued. That's a good news story. And what else have we got? Just checking. Can't do that one. That one's horrible. Oh dear. Should we do the animal stories now? Go on then. Meanwhile, we got a dog story. This is Cola, the story of Cola. She's a miniature dachshund. We've got a picture. Here they are. Ah, and what happened to Cola? Well, Cola had a fall. Yeah, not a good fall either. This was in Trimmingham, Norfolk. And yeah, the dog fell off a 120-foot high cliff and was stuck on a tiny ledge. But her owner, Ella Durkatz, who was walking on the cliff-top path, and had paused to take a picture when the dog disappeared. And she was convinced that the dog had run off, gone home. And so, maybe got lost in the local woods, So yeah, they started a search for her, and went on social media, and 60 local villagers turned out to look for Cola over the next 2 days. But it was only when a drone operator sent his drone up, he discovered her on a cliff. Look, a tiny little cliff. And she was fine. She was absolutely fine. And here she's been reunited with her owner. There you go. So it all turned out well in the end. Cola got her fizz back. That's good. I like that one. That was good. That was good. But yeah, there's another picture of the cliff edge, and I'm going down to get her. So there you go. But yeah, she was checked out by the vet, and she's fine. She's recovering at home now. So that's good. But should we end up on a funny? We are going to Mallorca, a marine park in Mallorca, and the story of a sea lion called Triton. And I'm just getting the video queued up. Here we go. Here he comes, and wallop! He escapes from the enclosure and lands on his handler. Oh, I bet she's going to feel that in the morning. Here's the action shot. Let me just pull that picture up. Why won't you do what I want you to do? There you go. Here's the action shot of her trying to stop the sea lion Triton falling on her. It's going to be painful. And then, wallop. Not good. Not good. Yeah, they then took the sea lion away to check if it had any injuries. And yeah, Sonia, the handler, got up and was okay. She was okay too. And here she is with Triton, thanking everyone for their messages of concern. But you don't want to get hit by a sea lion. No, that's not good. Must be quite heavy. Let's see if there's anybody in. 5 people in. Nobody's watching. Nobody cares for this. G-Man's in. This is afternoon. Victor says, we are the closest to the sun in 1,000 years. Maybe. Again, solar activity is the biggest affector of our climate. A massive solar flare, can change everything. Periods of solar activity can increase or decrease the climate. It's something for you to think about when you're in bed at night. They reckon that a solar flare, a really powerful solar flare, has the capacity to rip the atmosphere off the planet, like someone blowing the skin off a rice pudding. Imagine that. Run says, hi there, Darren. Happy Monday indeed. G-Man's into sugar puffs again. Make my wee smell. Lovely. Little bit of detail, says G-Man. He says the FBI reckons that any given time there are over 200 serial killers on the loose in the USA. 2000. I don't know. I mean, I think I've always believed that the majority of the crimes are committed by like single people, and that's the same like burglaries or thefts. It's usually the clusters are usually around one person's activity. So I mean, America's a big place though, isn't it? There's something like, it must be at least a couple of hundred people in America. So by my reckoning. Jimmy says the crazy woman needs to lay off the spirits. Indeed, the wrong kind of spirits have entered into her. And Ron says the ghost story is brilliant, straight out of the Sunday Sport. Damn, I'm misreading that. I used to just look at the pictures. And Jake says, hello from hell. Indeed. But at least the gas bills will be low. And that was the news, whether you like it or not. Killing the channel, one video at a time. You know you've got to drink it up. Ta-ta.